I paid $1,824 for a bunch of broken Nintendo handhelds. They're all special editions, and if I can fix all of them, I can almost double my money. This video is sponsored by BW100, more on them in a minute. Now, if you're really good at math, you see there's only 12 here. That's because I have one still in the mail, so I'll probably work on that last once it arrives. Let's just jump right in and get started with number one. Okay, and here we go with handheld number one. Let's see if it turns on. We got a blue light. That's good. Oh, blue light, and then it turns off. Already starting with probably a difficult one. Usually when these have the blue light and turn off, there's something up in this upper shell, probably a top screen ribbon cable, but let's open it up and figure it out. All right, so just gonna go with a Phillips 0 to remove this bottom cover. And you can get your fingernail right under here and pry that up. And now we're the inside. Now we can remove all these little screws, but first we need to get these little feet up because there are screws under there as well. It's been a minute since I have taken apart a quote-unquote new 3DS XL, so this should be fun. Now, none of these screws come out. I don't know why those holes are there for them, but those screws all stay in. With all those screws out, we should be able to get this thing up and off of here. Now we've got this ribbon cable right here and this ribbon cable right over here. And we have this ribbon cable in the front, and then this connector right here connects right onto there. Okay, nothing obvious yet. Right over here is the area I'm looking at. I actually don't see much going on there. So first what I'm going to do is remove this board. That way we can get to these ribbon cables and make sure they're plugged in all the way. My favorite ones of these type of fixes are the ones where somebody just didn't plug the ribbon cable in all the way and that pops and turns off, but that's very rare. Almost always that's not the cause of the problem. One thing I do want to mention is these are a different kind of connector than a lot of people have seen before. And these you don't push up on this black piece, because if you do, that'll actually ruin it. You just pull the cable right out of the connector. Let's get this cable up, and then you can see it again right here. I'm just going to use my dental pick and just pull back. There we go. And then same thing again. Just pull back. I've seen a lot of these where people flip up this black plastic piece right here because they think it's a locking tab, and it's totally not, and then they end up just breaking it. Oh, that was not in there all the way. I don't think that's enough to cause this problem we're having, but since it wasn't in there all the way, I'm going to install it all the way and then just see if this happens to work. I'm sure it won't, but I think it's worth trying. Okay, back together enough to test. And we got the blue light. The blue light's what? It totally works. That one loose ribbon cable is all it took to fix this. I only paid $134 for this one, and it's worth $275 used on eBay. So that was some quick money. Let's move on to number two. And next we have this old school 3DS XL. This is the Pokemon XY Blue Edition. Let's see what happens when we try and turn it on. Absolutely nothing happens. All right, let's get this back cover off and see what's going on in there. All right, let's check voltage in this battery. Just see if it's a battery issue. And we have 3.9 volts. Definitely not a battery issue. I think these are 3.7. Yeah, these are 3.7 volts, so that is definitely charged. Yeah, we've got some signs of liquid damage here. But actually, I don't see any other liquid damage so far, but it could be on the other side of the board. We also have this ribbon cable is installed incorrectly. Okay, so what we're going to do is take this all apart, partially just to make sure it's put together properly, but then also we need to look at the other side of this board. And there's a little damage on here. Really not that bad though. Let's get under the microscope and see what's going on this board. No matter what electronic device you're working on, BW100 is one of the best electronic contact cleaners out there. It's safe to use on almost all plastics, it evaporates super quickly, and it doesn't leave a residue. And one of my favorite things about it is that it's non-flammable. It also comes in this pressurized container, so you can spray it right down into where you need it. Recently, I made a power tool video that has electronic contacts right here, so I can just spray the BW100 down in there and take a toothbrush and clean those contacts really well. One of my favorite uses for BW100 is cleaning analog sticks. So there's these little holes right on the green potentiometers. We just spray it down in there on each side, just like that. Move the stick back and forth, up and down. Same with this side. On this PlayStation 5 controller, it's the same thing. They have very similar analog sticks, and we do the same thing. Back and forth, up and down, and I do that several times, and I don't have to worry that there's BW100 getting down on the board and even down here on the plastic, because it's not going to damage it and it's going to evaporate really quickly. Now for these controllers, you have to have them taken apart. For the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con, you don't even have to take it apart. All you need is something to lift this little flap right here, and then while the flap is lifted, you can spray BW100 right down inside the analog stick, and then do the same thing, move it up and down and back and forth. BW100 works for dirty analog sticks. If your analog stick is totally worn out, it's not gonna fix that. This is the analog stick for a Nintendo 3DS or 3DS XL, and we can just spray that right down inside of it and move the analog stick all around just like we're doing, and that will clean that out nicely. We've also seen several game slots in this video that have been dirty. We can spray BW100 down inside the game slot and then just plug the game in and out, just like that, and that will clean those pins. BW100 quickly removes oil, grease, dust, and other debris, and then evaporates super fast like it wasn't even there. I'm gonna put a link right in the description that'll take you right there. And we definitely have probably a soda spill on this one. So we got some cleaning up to do. But just looking at the board, somebody's already been in here and cleaned this and tried to do some repairs. Clearly we're not successful, so let's see what we can do. Most of this really doesn't look too bad though. When we come over here, we've got some work to do here. Got to clean up this connector right here. But just looking at the rest of this, it really doesn't look too bad. So not really any issues there. If we turn it over, definitely have some grossness there. Have some over here on these capacitors. I don't see anything so far that I feel like should make it not turn on. So I think what we'll do is give this thing a good cleaning and then see if that does any good at all. All right, that is definitely not perfect, but that's pretty good. Let's just put this back together and test it and see what happens. All right, all those screws are in. The bottom cover is on, the bottom shell, the bottom whatever. The battery cover is on. Now let's give this thing a test and see if it turns on. All right, here we go. Oh, I get a blue light. That's amazing, but will the screens turn on? Come on. Oh yeah, and the screens even turn on. So we fixed 2 out of 2 so far. Let's move on to number 3. And number 3 is this 3DS Fire Emblem Awakening. This is worth $230. I only paid $120, but let's see if it turns on. We got a blue light. Good. Oh, okay. We got a top screen. Shoulder buttons work. Okay. All right. This is looking good so far. We got to open this up though and see what's going on with this bottom screen. And with all those screws out, this should, oh, there we go. It's a little sticky. I don't know if that means there's some liquid that's spilled in here maybe. Maybe not. Okay, so what I want to check are these connections right here. I definitely don't see any problems on it. This actually looks really good inside so far. So let's look at this connection right here. Okay, that's definitely fine. No issues there. I want to look at this connection here as well, but we need to take the game slot off first. And these, if I remember right, are glued down. Yep. There we go. All right, game slot is now off, and that ribbon looks just fine. So I think we're probably going to have to end up replacing the bottom screen on this one. There we go, and get to this bottom screen. I mean, it sure looks good. It's even nice and clean, but definitely doesn't work. So next what I want to do is remove this blue bezel from this screen and install it onto this one, so the bezel matches the console. Now I'm going to remove this one first so I can remember how to do it. Also make sure not to poke myself. Maybe I'll try it with my fingernails first. Yeah, I'm getting it. Almost got it. Oh. Okay, now we need to remove it from this. Now this screen, I'm not 100% sure is good. I think it is, but I have a stack of parts and it's not always, you know, reliable. The parts are good that I think are good. So I sure hope it is, but I don't know for sure. Oh no, I already broke it. Didn't want to do that. Okay. Let's see if we can get the rest of this apart without breaking it more. Man, that's exactly what I was trying not to do. Okay, we're getting it. There we go, all good. Whoop, almost broke it again. Come on. This one seems more fragile than the one I took off, than the black one. Okay. Got it. Only one break. That really bums me out, but that does happen sometimes. So this just needs to go on here. Just about like that. We can line up this broken part. Gonna need to glue that, that's for sure. Okay. That's looking mostly good. I do need to clean it up though. So I'll get the screen cleaned up, then we'll install it in here, and then we'll see if it actually works. Okay, and that is pretty clean. Let's get this thing installed. There we go. Hopefully that screen works we put in. I think it does. I usually don't keep stuff unless it works, or if it doesn't work, I usually will mark on it or something. Okay, and the part I broke, it really doesn't look too bad, that bezel part. But that being said, I will need to deduct a little bit of money from the amount that I expect to get out of it because of that. But that's assuming this bottom screen works. Let's turn it on and see if it does. We got a blue light. And come on. There we go. Bottom screen works great. So number 3 is working good. Let's move on to number 4. And number 4 is this ice white Japanese edition 3DS. Even has this protector between the two halves. That's cool. Let's see if we get power. Oh. So blue light, but then it turns off. All right, another blue light and power's off. Let's get this thing opened up and see if maybe we just have another loose ribbon cable. Probably not, but you never know. Now this was missing a couple screws. There's a screw there was missing and one there was missing. Maybe more, but those are the ones I noticed. Oh, we got a pink liquid damage indicator. We got a missing shoulder button here. This has definitely been opened up before. Does come with a memory card. No evidence of liquid damage that I see anywhere. first thing I'm going to do, oh, what do we have here? We've got a ribbon cable that's not connected. There is no way that that's the only problem with this. There is no way. Okay, and that's not connected because this connector is broken. There's a locking tab that goes on there that is not there. So the first thing, let's get this under a microscope and inspect this. And then it is possible that this will work if we replace that thing. Let's give it a try. Okay, I think this is the same lock we need. I'm trying to remove it without causing any other problems or breaking this connector. Okay, there we go. We got it removed, but now can we install it? I need to flip this around. Okay, so let's try and get one side in. This is really hard. I can't get a grip on this where it'll, oh, there we go. Okay. That's good so far. Right where we need it. Oh man, I had it. This is obviously really, really hard to do. But it is possible. I have done it before. Not often, but it has happened. Need to get those other pins inside of the connector instead of outside of it. Okay, we've got 2 pins in there. These 2 pins are not in there though. I don't want to bend them too much. Whoops. Okay, let's give it a try. So pop up. I don't know if I got that in there good enough or not, but we're going to find out real quick here. Okay, that goes like that. That locks down. It seems to lock down. Okay, I don't know if I got this all the way in or not. Let's pop that back up. Yeah, that's all the way. Okay, let's give that a try and see if it works. And since I'm not real sure about this repair, I'm going to get the battery put in just like that. And then we'll try and power it on again. It's doing this weird, when you do it first, the light will go on and off. And then the light like stays on, sorta. It's still sort of on, but nothing on the screen. So I think maybe we fixed that thing where it was coming on and off originally, but it's still going on and off. So let's check all these ribbon cables next. Okay, now let's see how this ribbon cable looks. It's hard to tell. It might be okay, but it looks like it might not be in there all the way too. Yeah, I'm not sure that was in there all the way. While this is out though, let's have a look at the board and just see if there's anything else going on that we can see. All right, I'm looking around here. We got some liquid damage here, some liquid damage over here. Oh, that's not good. We got liquid damage under this chip. Liquid damage right here. There's a lot of it. All over under that chip. That's no good. What else do we have? Looks okay there. Liquid damage up here. Over here. Over here. Is there any part of this board that doesn't have liquid damage? This might be one of the boards that we need to give up on. Not necessarily give up on, but call it not fixable just because of all of this corrosion. Because all this corrosion here, and then all of this corrosion down in these little vias. And also, I mean, who knows where else there's corrosion on this board. These chips look okay from the top, but also there's more chips under here. Another chip under here. And even if we fix this right now, there's a pretty good chance there's going to be more problems with it in the future. So let's do this. Let's clean this board up the best we can, but I am going to call this one not fixable. This one is only worth around $100 anyway, so it's not like It's not like it's worth that much. We could probably still get a good 50 bucks for it just broken as is. So I'm going to just change the price to what we can get for it to $40 because I think we probably can easily get that. I'm going to do some cleaning on it, clean all this stuff up, and then we'll just put it back together, just see if it happens to work, but I don't think it's going to. Let's make sure this ribbon cable is in there all the way because yeah, I think it wasn't in there all the way before I took it apart. Definitely is now though. Okay, it's not completely back together, but plenty enough to give it a test. Let's see what it does. And now we don't get any power at all. I think we fixed this one. Oh, red blinking light. And still no screens. Hey, what? No, what? Wow. I mean, this one's at least partially fixed. That is crazy. I can't believe that. It must have been that one loose cable. Well, and that connector we fixed. Now for this one, I probably still will sell it for parts just because there is so much liquid damage on the board. But that's still crazy that we got it fixed this far. Let's move on to number 5. And number 5, whoa. Yeah, we've got a top screen problem for sure. We also get no power at all. Let me put a known good battery in this thing. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if this one didn't work, because that would mean I wouldn't have to replace the top screen in this thing. Can we do this whole video without replacing a single top screen? That's the question. And of course it's not going to work if there's no battery in it. All right, now let's see what happens. Okay, we've got a blue light, and that's it. Maybe that's because of the faulty top screen. Maybe the bottom screen's bad too. I don't know. But unfortunately, since this does turn on, I need to replace this top screen. So I'm down to the board. I have it almost ready to come out, but I did notice this part of the board is kind of sitting up a little bit. It's not sitting down flush. And that's because there's this little green cable right here that is supposed to go through a little groove here, and it's not in that groove. Oh, I have 2 more screws to remove. Thought it was ready to come out. So somebody has done something to this before. Yeah, so this is supposed to be in this groove right here, and it was just kind of loose right there. All right, so next we need to unplug this cable, and then we can get that out. And now it's time to take these buttons out and then get to the top screen and start removing that. I'm actually thinking about it. I'm actually going to try leaving these buttons in. See if we can do this without getting those buttons out. So next what we need to do is start on the top screen. So first we're going to remove these little screw covers very carefully. Oops. I'm going to try not to do what I just did. Try not to scratch them up or scratch the plastic up. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Man, it's been a while since I've done the top screen on one of these because I don't like it. In fact, I don't know of anyone that does like it. There we go. There we go. And then that can come off. There we go. All right. Now I can push this hinge back and then get this top removed. Although every time I do one of these videos, I have people saying things like, Steve, it's so much easier if you just take the one ribbon cable out that you need instead of feeding all the ribbon cables through. And while I'm not convinced of that, I'm not sure that's really even very possible. I feel like I should give it a try. So let's give it a try. So I'm going to disconnect these little cables here. These cables connect to the screen. Now this should come up. Now with that off, we can also remove this one and also remove this cable. Just stuck, there's a piece of adhesive there, and there's some adhesive right under here that we need to remove. And then more over here. All right. And now we're ready to remove this the rest of the way and kind of fold it down like that. Now we can get to the cameras. There's no adhesive down under the cameras, but there is adhesive on the ribbon cables here. There we go. And there we go. Now we're down to the screen. And I think I have a replacement. And the replacement's a used one, and I have a very old sticker on here that says, "Screen works, I think." So I don't know if this screen's even gonna work, but let's get this old one out, and then we'll try and get this one in and see what happens. So we are working against adhesive here. So I'm gonna open this up and push with my fingers, push back, and hopefully get this screen. There we go. Okay, that went pretty well. Don't have to worry about breaking this one since it's already shattered. There we go. Okay, and it's wanting to sort of go through, although not that well. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here. So it's stuck right there. So we need to help this thing along by twisting it around. Actually, I might just cut this one because this one doesn't matter. It's already broken. So I'm going to cut right here. There we go. Now we can pull that out from the other side like that. Okay. So this, I believe, should go on the inside of this green wire and then the inside of the other cables. So just like this, I'm going to wrap it up inside itself and try and push it through. I think it's not going to be as easy as it seems though. I think it's going to get stuck somewhere in here. I really don't want to mess up this, especially because I'm not sure if I have any other screens for this. So, okay, I might need to take this off of here so I don't have to go through this little part of the hinge. That's the part it's having a problem with. I was hoping I could just put it through like this, but clearly that is not going so well. So I don't think that's gonna work. But you know, I'm gonna try it again anyway. Cause why not? Yep, I don't think there's any good way to do that. So I need to take the hinge pin out so I can get this part off, so then I have more room back there. There we go. And then that separates from there. And then this separates from here. There we go. Okay. Now, with that there, getting this through here should be way easier. I'm just gonna go around here. Like that. Come on. And then spin it around on itself. Like that, and then through the tube, hopefully. There we go. I really hope this screen works after all this work. So, that part, we can kind of put back like this. Now we need to get this part back in. To do that, we need to squeeze all these cables together and put them up through that little groove. This is a lot more difficult to do when I'm filming. Okay, how to do that part without filming. I just couldn't get the right angle and keep my head out of the way. So, but we did get those through the groove. Now we need to put this part on like that. Get this screen all the way on here. Keeps wanting to fall out. Okay, now if we get the angle just right, the hinge pin will flip right in there. Okay, there we go. Now this back cover can go on. The front snaps down first, and we push it back, just like that. Now, we can get this motherboard back installed and see if that top screen even works. Okay, this is together enough just to test. I'm gonna test it and see if it works before we go any further. Okay, power, blue light. And no display. Oh, that's a bummer. We don't get anything on either screen. So it could be a problem with the speakers, the camera, the Wi-Fi card, any of that stuff. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna try replacing this Wi-Fi card just because it was unplugged when I first started this, which might mean that somebody tried to replace it already, but it's a super easy thing to test, so let's get it replaced and see what happens. All right, get this one plugged in. There we go. All right, now let's try it and see what happens. And nothing still. Oh, that's a bummer. So I installed a new lower screen because I think that's probably the most likely problem behind the Wi-Fi card. And since I replaced that several times, I don't think that's the issue. Now let's see what happens. Blue light, and now it pops and powers off. Yeah, I think I might have installed a faulty top screen into this. So this is what I think. I think both the bottom and top screen were faulty. I replaced the top one with a faulty one, but the bottom one was still faulty, so it wouldn't turn on enough to test that. Now with the working lower screen, it's turning on enough to test the top screen, and it pops and turns off when it sees the top screen is faulty. That's my theory. Let's get it replaced again and find out if I'm right. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, since I have a replacement of this whole assembly, what I'm gonna do is remove all of these ribbon cables so I can just put that whole new assembly back up in here. So we'll remove that assembly and we will get this assembly put back in here. And it is, oh wait, is it there? Got it. Okay, now we will get this part installed. Okay, now I just need to put this back cover on, then we can get the board in. I'm not gonna film all that, you've already seen it. We'll come back once the board's in and it's ready to test. All right, here we go. We've got it all back in, enough to test. Let's see what happens. Blue light, and oh no. It just pops and turns off again. I don't think there's anything on here that hasn't been replaced, which means it's probably a board problem. And here's the thing with that. I don't know if you've noticed when I've been taking the board on and off, but it's like bent. It's like got a bow in it. So I think that might be the problem, which is super unfortunate. But there's a good way to test. I do have a spare board laying around. So I'm gonna get that, install it in here, and we'll see if that fixes it. Okay, I have the replacement board installed, but look at this. This is what I was talking about. Look at how bowed this is. That doesn't show it as well. This shows it pretty well. Look at how bent that board is. I don't know. So that definitely could be the problem, but let's test this one and see if it works now. This isn't a good way to test these. I don't recommend it, but it's quick. Okay, blue light. Staying on so far. Come on. Yeah! There we go. So number 5 is finally fixed. Let's move on to number 6. Future Steve here, and I'm just realizing this video is getting way too long, so I'm gonna split it into 2 parts, and in part 2, we're gonna start out with number 6. I'm gonna put part 2 up on your screen as soon as it's ready, so just click on there to continue watching. Don't forget to buy BW100, I'll put a link in the description. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.